My son's teacher said he'd never amount to anything. She didn't know who his parent was. I'm not the kind of parent who complains about teachers. I believe they have one of the hardest jobs out there. Overworked, underpaid, constantly blamed. So when my son started coming home quiet, I assumed it was just a phase. He's 9, sensitive, curious, loves science and building things, but struggles with reading. Nothing alarming. Until one night, he asked me a question that stopped me cold. "Dad, am I stupid?" I asked him why he would ever think that. He stared at the floor and said, "My teacher says I don't try hard enough, that kids like me don't usually succeed." Kids like me? The next day, I emailed the teacher asking for a meeting. She responded quickly. Too quickly. In the meeting, she smiled politely and spoke in that condescending tone people use when they think they're being honest. She said my son was behind his peers, that he lacked focus, that not every child was academically inclined. Then she said the sentence I'll never forget. Some kids just need to accept their limitations early. I kept my voice calm. I asked what interventions she'd tried, what support he was getting. She waved it off and said, extra attention would be wasted on him. That's when I realized this wasn't concern, it was dismissal. I asked for assessments. She resisted. I pushed harder. Turns out my son had an undiagnosed learning disability, one that's incredibly common and very manageable with the right support. Once he got accommodations, everything changed. His confidence came back, his grades improved, he stopped calling himself stupid. But the story didn't end there. At the end of the year, there was a school board meeting about funding and classroom performance. Parents were invited. I attended. When public comments opened, I stood up and told my son's story. Calmly, factually, I quoted the teacher's exact words. The room went silent. Then I mentioned my background. I work in education policy, specifically curriculum evaluation and teacher training. The principal's face changed color. An internal review followed. Emails were pulled. Patterns emerged. Turns out my son wasn't the only one she'd written off. By the next semester, she was reassigned out of the classroom. My son never knew the details. All he knows is this. His new teacher tells him, "You're capable, you just learn differently." Last week, he came home with a science project and said, "Dad, I think I'm actually good at this." And that's when I realized something important. The most dangerous thing an adult can do to a child is convince them they're already finished growing.